So a couple of days ago, we did learn that unfortunately Fares Ziam has had to withdraw from his matchup against Kauê Fernandes due to some personal family matters, and stepping in is going to be the Cage Warriors featherweight champion as he does take on Kauê Fernandes. This is actually the second time I'm recording this video because I made some adjustments to my filters and stuff like that on my OBS, and the audio just sounded absolutely terrible, so I've gone back to what I remember I was using before. Hopefully it sounds alright. I have actually been considering purchasing a new microphone, but after talking around with people, I have the same microphone as most people. I have a Shure MV7, I think it is. It's a pretty good mic. It did cost me a few $100s back in the day. But anyway, with that being said, I am going to be picking Kauê Fernandes, and the odds actually do reflect a lot of respect for what Harry Hardwick can bring to the table, because I do think that he's going to be a fantastic addition to the division of 145 pounds. I just do think that he is going to struggle coming up to 155 pounds against Kauê Fernandes, who just proved great takedown defense, who just proved improved boxing, and just showed great leg kicks against Guram Kutateladze in his most recent matchup. So to talk about Harry Hardwick, now he is the brother of someone that a lot of people, including myself, considered to be one of the best prospects out of England right now, in George Hardwick, but Harry Hardwick is going to beat him to getting into the UFC due to George Hardwick recently actually losing to Samuel Silva, who actually just lost to Mandao Nalo on the Contender Series. And speaking of the Contender Series, I'm doing pretty well. I've picked 3 perfect cards in a row. It's probably going to come all crashing down in the next one, though, because the next week's card is a mess. That got off topic very quickly. Hardwick's good. You know, his brother George, I would say, really does rely specifically on just pure boxing and some leg kicks. Harry Hardwick has a much more Muay Thai orientated style with a lot more offensive wrestling and grappling ability as well, because he does, well, he offensively wrestles and grapples a lot in his fights. He has shown that his striking defense, in my opinion, does have some holes in it, but he has a chin and he's a very tough guy to get out of there. He's got really good wins. I mean, he's been on a massive win streak in Cage Warriors, and he's fought good fighters. Even had a run in Bellator for a little bit, but mostly been fighting good guys in Cage Warriors kind of ever since he signed for the promotion, most recently in 2021. And he is the champion for then. He just beat the absolute Brazilian bomber, Kauê Lopez, who, if you are unfamiliar with him, just wants to finish all of the fights in the first round by knockout. And the way that he beat Kauê Lopez is he mostly just survived the first round of Lopez, because Lopez was just throwing hooks, throwing overhands, throwing combinations, and trying to get Hardwick out of there. The problem is, Hardwick was getting hit with a few of those shots and wasn't really able to get his offensive wrestling going in the first round. And then against Javier Garcia as well, Garcia did actually find some of his own boxing success as well. And I would even say in some moments, you could say that Hardwick struggled with the strength and size of Garcia, as Garcia at one point in the first round actually just tossed Hardwick down to the ground as Hardwick was caught off balance in a moment. But to describe Harry Hardwick's style, mostly I would say he does mix in pretty high-level Muay Thai striking with good offensive wrestling and grappling as well. The problem is, as I did just mention, I did see in a few of his matchups that the boxing defense can be a concern in some moments, and I do think that that is going to be a concern when he does fight against Fernandes, who just showed in his most recent matchup against Guram Kutateladze that the hands are solid, man, because if you look into his LFA fights, of course, before Kauê signed to the promotion and fought in his first couple of matchups, he was mostly striking behind kicks. He was actually getting these finishes behind kicks. I mean, I know technically this was a head kick finish out of the clinch, which isn't that common, but it did happen, obviously. But Fernandes, you haven't really been seeing the hands. But against Guram Kutateladze, he started out the matchup by absolutely chopping the legs of Guram. Very good game plan against a wrestler. And then from there, the boxing combinations started to land and they started to come. And Fernandes was finding his boxing success in that matchup too. So he kind of showed that he's got a bit more of an all-rounded game. I guess training with Jose Aldo, who's got very, very good boxing, especially now in his more kind of later years of his career, would do that. And I think that against Harry Hardwick, I think that that is where he's going to find a lot of striking success, is in the boxing. As regards to Harry Hardwick's wrestling and grappling, personally, I think just given the fact that we saw Kauê Fernandes' takedown defense look so good against Guram Kutateladze, it should translate over pretty well against the coming up featherweight on 1 week's notice. So for that reason, I think that the fight is going to stay on the feet. Unless Kauê wants to take it down. I mean, he did take down Guram Kutateladze twice, and those takedowns did come later on in the fight, but he still did it. So maybe Kauê decides to shoot a takedown for some reason later on. I don't know. But I think this is going to be a fight that is going to be fought mostly on the feet. And I think that from Kauê's game, we're going to actually see him find success in the boxing. As to regards to a potential finish, Hardwick's a tough guy, man. He's only been submitted once. He's never been knocked out. The one time he got submitted was in 2017, which is a long time ago. And Blaine O'Driscoll was actually a pretty good fighter. But I do think that, you know, he's coming up a weight class to 155. It's going to be tough on 1 week's notice. I think that Kauê Fernandes could potentially knock him out. It's so hard to make that pick, though, just because Hardwick's a tough guy, man. You know, he's going to fight through anything. But I think that Kauê Fernandes is going to win by knockout in round 2 or 3. I don't want to kind of say that to discredit Hardwick. I mean, obviously, the odds are respecting him at only plus 140, plus 130. But, you know, this is 1 week's notice. Hardwick is a really good featherweight. I don't know how he's going to look at 155 pounds on a week's notice. So I like Fernandes. He's had the full camp. He's training with Aldo. He just beat Guram Kutateladze. I mean, I don't really know what more there is to say about that. That's it for the video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Did the audio sound okay? I mean, I kind of changed the settings a couple days ago. Didn't record a test and then recorded a whole video. I kind of like this one. And then listened to it at the end, and I was like, oh my goodness, that sounds absolutely awful. So I've changed them again. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.